watching. So for today's video, I've got another product review for you guys, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar Palette. This palette just came out at the beginning of this week, I believe is when it first went on sale. I actually purchased mine during the VIB sale, or when it went on sale with Sephora for VIBs. That is when I purchased mine, and I got it last week. And so of course I wanted to make sure that I got a review up for you guys, and I know that a couple of you guys have been asking me on Instagram to review this palette, so I decided today I would go ahead and film it since I did just recently get it. I do want to go ahead and mention that I am not wearing the eyeshadows on my eyes today. I had already decided to film this makeup tutorial before I decided to actually film the review for this palette, but of course if you're interested in seeing me actually using the eyeshadows and seeing them in action and how they blend, feel free to give this video a thumbs up and I would be more than happy to film that for you guys. So when you purchase the palette, it comes in a box that looks like this, and it just says Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar on the front of it. And then of course when you open it and take the palette out of the box, the palette itself looks like this, which is pretty much exactly the same to the original chocolate bar palette. The only difference is that this one is a little bit lighter, kind of like a milk chocolate color, and the writing is a little bit different on the front, and then of course it says semi-sweet down here on the bottom. Now I did not actually purchase the original chocolate bar palette, and so when I saw that this one came out, I really wanted to pick it up because I have heard a lot of really great things about the original palette, and so I figured since this one was coming out, I would pick it up and see how I liked it, and that would kind of help me to decide whether I was going to purchase the original or not. So I will hold that opinion until the end. But back to the actual palette, like I said, when you take it out of the box, it looks like this, and it actually has like a magnetic closure. It just kind of closes like that, which I thought was really cool. And then when you open it up, it comes with this little how-to guide here in the front. And inside of this, it just kind of gives you a couple of different eye looks that you can create using this palette, and then on the back it shows you all of the step-by-steps on how you can actually create those makeup looks. Now the palette itself comes with 16 shades total. It's a mix of matte shades and shimmer shades, and then of course you've got your big mirror here at the top. For the most part, these shades are pretty neutral in tone, with the exception of this blue shade here, and then of course this pink shade here, but outside of that, the rest of the shades are pretty much in that chocolate or brown family. And of course, just like the original, when I actually opened the palette and took it out of the box, the very first thing that I noticed was the smell. And if you have never purchased anything from the Too Faced chocolate collection, all of the products are cocoa infused, just meaning that they actually really do smell like chocolate, which I think is a really nice and creative touch because most girls really love chocolate and most girls really love makeup as well, so why not combine the two and make the makeup smell like chocolate? So I really did enjoy that when I actually opened the box. I will say that the smell does kind of wear off after you've kind of opened it and closed it and been in and out of it a few times, but it's definitely really strong and something you will definitely notice when you initially open the palette for the first time. So this palette retails at Sephora for $49. I actually used my VIB gift card that I got in the mail to purchase this, so I was able to get mine for $20 off. But if you don't have a gift card or you don't have a discount or anything like that, then it will be $49. And again, like I said, you do get 16 total shades in this palette, a mixture of both matte and shimmer shades. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a few swatches of the shadows that are actually in the palette, and then I'll be back to let you know my thoughts. Hey guys, welcome back. I hope that you enjoyed those swatches. I have to be honest, that was my first time ever actually swatching an entire eyeshadow palette to show you guys, and it made me cringe a little bit because of course when you first get a brand new palette, it's so perfect and clean and neat, and for those of you who know me, you know I have a little bit of OCD tendencies, so swatching it I was kind of like, ooh, I don't want to mess it up, but I do want to go ahead and move into letting you guys know a little bit of information about how I feel about the palette and how I feel about the shadows. So I was not disappointed by this palette overall as far as the shadows and how they swatch. These eyeshadows are really, really smooth, and there are several shadows in this palette that are extremely pigmented. Like I said, I haven't ever really swatched eyeshadows to actually film or to take a picture to actually post, and so when I was going in to swatch the first shadow, which is Licorice, the black shadow, I was kind of rubbing my finger in there thinking that I needed to get a good bit on there to be able to swatch it on my arm. When I lifted my finger up and looked at it, there was so much product on my finger, and it was so very, very pigmented, and a lot of the shadows in this palette are like that. So that is something that I'm really, really excited about. It makes me excited to actually try this palette and use it on my eyes, because from how they felt and how they swatched, I expect them to be very, very pigmented and very easy to blend. Now, of course, there are a few shadows in here that are not as pigmented as others. For instance, the pink sugar shade. That shade does not actually come out very opaque at all. As you saw in the swatch, it's very, very sheer. So I'm not exactly sure how you would use that shade. Maybe on top of some of the other shades, or maybe in the inner corner on the lower lash line on the inner corner as a glitter, maybe. I'm not really sure, but that shade in particular, it was not very opaque, so it would not be one that you would be able to use as an all over the lid shade. So that might be one that you would have to get a little bit creative with. But outside of that, all of the other shades were very, very, very pigmented and very smooth and creamy. And I was especially also surprised by the blue shade, because of course I swatched the pink sugar shade before I got to the blueberry swirl shade, and so when I swatched the pink one and I saw that it wasn't very opaque, I assumed that the blue one might be pretty similar, but when I actually swatched that one, it was pretty pigmented and pretty opaque as well. So like I said, overall, I thought that the consistency and the smoothness and the pigmentation of this palette was pretty good overall, with the exception of that pink sugar shade. But like I said, you may just have to get a little creative with that one and figure out some ways that you can actually use it. So overall, I do think that this palette is worth the money. As I mentioned in the beginning, you do get 16 shades, and I was impressed with the shades that I got and how they actually swatched on my arm. I will definitely be picking up the original, because I saw on Instagram someone that showed a little 15-second video comparison of the two, and the shades in the original look to be just as gorgeous, and if the consistency of those shades are similar or better than these, then it will definitely be worth the money as well. So I give this product 2 thumbs up. Like I said, there are a couple of shades in there that were not as pigmented as some of the others, but overall, like I said, this would be a great palette for someone who is maybe just starting out in makeup, or someone who just likes palettes in general. Definitely a great palette for someone who collects makeup. But if you're just someone who is wanting a really nice, warm tone, everyday palette that you can use, this is definitely one that I would recommend, because there are so many warm tone neutral shades that you can mix and match to create lots of different really gorgeous looks. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this review of the Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar Palette. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to leave them in the description bar below, and I will also link for you guys where I got my palette. As I mentioned, I did get it from Sephora.com, but I will leave a link in the description that will take you directly to the palette so that you don't have to go searching for it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you would like to see me actually use this palette in a tutorial. Don't forget to also subscribe to my channel so that you will be the first to know anytime that I upload a new video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.